Welcome back to Justice for Shelley. Today we turn to something that should have been simple but wasn't. The people who were never interviewed. The ones who were there, the ones who heard things, the ones who saw things, the ones who were close enough to know the truth but were never asked to speak.
When you look at a case like this, missing evidence is one thing. Missing voices are another. And in Shelley's case, the silence didn't happen naturally. It followed a pattern shaped by influence, fear, and the kind of pressure small towns know all too well.
Start with the most obvious problem. Several people connected to Jerry Watkins were never questioned during the critical window when Shelley disappeared. Not months later, not years later, not ever.
People closest to him, some of them were never talked to at all, not once. We all thought that was strange.
Some of these individuals were around Jerry daily. They worked with him. They traveled with him. They drank with him. They were close enough to know if something happened that night, yet their statements never made it into the file.
Take the individuals who claimed they saw Jerry's behavior change in the days after Shelley vanished. Their accounts were never collected. Their timelines were never written down. Their statements were never added to the case file. And when you ask why, there is no answer that makes sense.
You could tell something was off with him after she went missing. A few of us noticed it. Nobody ever asked us what we saw.
Then there are the people who tried to speak up, the ones who started to ask questions or share what they knew. People who later said they felt pressure to stay quiet. Some said they were warned. Some said they were told to mind their business.
You knew who you could talk to and who you couldn't. A lot of us kept it to ourselves.
The community knew who held the power. They knew who controlled the money. They knew which families were tied together and which businesses depended on which relationships. In a town like Corsicana, jobs and loyalty often overlap. When those lines blur, people stay silent to survive.
There were things folks wanted to say back then. They just didn't feel safe saying them.
Even now, 3 decades later, there are people who still hesitate. People who say they were left out of the investigation entirely. People who admit they stayed quiet because they believed speaking could cost them their job, their safety, or their place in the community.
People disappeared from conversations real fast. Like they didn't want to be caught talking.
But here is the problem. Every investigation rises or falls on the people who speak. And this one fell because too many voices went unheard.
There were folks who knew things. Good people. They just didn't want trouble. Not with him.
So here is the question. What would have happened if law enforcement had interviewed the right people at the right time? What would have surfaced? What contradictions would have been exposed? What pressure would have cracked? And how different would this case look today?
Some people tried to come forward later. They were told the case was closed. Nothing more they could do.
Someone listening right now remembers the first story. Someone remembers the details before they got filtered. Someone knows something they have never said because no one ever asked.
If that is you, now is the time to speak. You do not need to go on camera. You do not need to testify publicly. You can share what you know safely and privately. Submit your information at watkins-murder.com. Rewards are available for credible tips that help move this case forward. The missing voices can still be heard. Let this be the moment they finally are.